All right, folks, this is the end, but only of April. I feel like it's necessary that we make that disclaimer this month because April has been a especially rough month for all of us. So, for those of you who don't know, we are in year two of a global pandemic. But
Yeah.
April 2021 decided that pandemics are easy mode and that the Caribbean needs some additional roughness. So the men decided to throw a volcanic eruption at our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent, which covered Barbados in volcanic ash for days and days, and we still deal with it. On top of all that, which is already terrible, our hearts and prayers go out to our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent. But in addition to that, my phone died, which is ridiculous. Come
Yeah.
on now, unacceptable.
Yeah.
First world
So
problems.
I can't do it. I can't deal with it. Additionally, for our astute viewers, those of you with only the keenest eyes, you will realize that one of us is missing.
Hmm.
I'll have you know that Jessica had to feed Ian to the volcano gods to stop the eruptions in St. Vincent so that we could have this show. So he will not be joining us. We will try to retrieve him from the netherworld for the next episode.
Well,
But
just to interrupt you, the fact that the volcano is still going don't mean that you're not.
Ian is working on it, okay? Ian is working on it. We have to admit that he wasn't exactly the virgin sacrifice that we advertised him as. So we're in negotiation with the volcano gods.
You're feeding
But
death to a volcano. All right. I see
he
what
will
you're
sort it out. I have faith. I have faith. Ian is going to sort it out.
doing. Right.
Never a doubt. So, anyways, guys, as you all know, it's the last Saturday of of the month. So it's time for another episode of This Is the End with the Xion Network's own Horsemen of the Apocalypse. We are Horsemen short, but for you, those of you who don't know, the show is a monthly review show of pop culture with a special focus on works that have been produced by the Xion Network. This month we are reviewing HARDEARS by Matthew Clark and Nigel Lynch, the man who has way too many names. And you're in for a doozy. The Xion Network is a community of artists, of independent artists, with a special focus on independent comic book art. It was started by the illustrious Sean Allen, who is a Barbadian-born artist that's now based in Philly. He started the Xion Network in Philadelphia, and then he reconnected with his Barbadian roots, and he established the Xion Network 246 in Barbados, which is headed up by our very own award-winning Mohz, the Horseman of Vengeance. So before we get started on this month's piece of art, let us have everyone introduce themselves. Julian, you go first.
Alrighty. So good evening, everyone. My name is Julian Mosley, but y'all call me Mohz. I spelled M-O-H-Z. I am the Horseman Vengeance, as you can see right here. That's like Roun said, basically I'm just a normal guy who is normally looking like a pyro these days because it's short cash. I need to go fund me soon, so that's what's happening. So, yeah. Otherwise, than that, I'm an artist, creator, beat maker, producer, all around. You were saying?
Award winning.
Oh yeah,
winning.
There's that.
Winning award.
Indeed. Going on awards. Was it Graphic Artist of the Year or Visual Artist of the Year?
Yeah,
Graphic Artist.
Graphic Artist of the Year. I don't think I can get used to that yet.
Too good. So next up we have our very own horsewoman of the apocalypse, the somewhat blonde bombshelling today. Jessica, shout us out.
Yes. Hi guys, this is Jessica. I cannot confirm or deny whether or not I am in jail due to having fed you.
You lock up. Stop there.
Locked up. They won't let me out. But yeah. So if my internet is a bit splashy, that jail Wi-Fi is not a joke. But yeah, other than that, I am design enthusiast, animator, I guess, print designer, into fashion, all that other random stuff. The lone operative from the Bureau of Gender Affairs. designated to the group by the Honorable Omar Motley, our beloved Prime Minister, just to estrogen up the gang. Yeah, and that's about it from me.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So, Auntie Mia, you will see that we're doing our best to include a woman's voice. Please don't shut us down, even when we say wild things. Next up, we have our boy Wrath, DJ Cam. Shout out the man.
Yo, you took me off of mute, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
we can hear you.
Good evening, Barbados. Good evening, Zion crew, Zion family. As you said before, thoughts and prayers go to those in St. Vincent who are still recovering from continuous eruptions from the last affair. So let me just introduce myself. My name is Cameron. I'm an artist and a father. I like football. I'm not gonna get into what team I like. That's gonna start like a whole thing. I don't want to get into that whole Super League thing. Let's keep it to art and class and culture today. Right. So I don't really think I got much to say. I'm really hyped and really interested to get into the matter that is HARDEARS, because this is scrumptious. So let's just jump right into it.
All right, that sounds great. So yeah, that just leaves me to introduce myself. Y'all know me. It's your boy Roun. I'm a hobbyist, illustrator, and writer, creator of Restoration Earth, and generally a man with very strong opinions and often controversial ones. So we're going to get into reviewing our first piece of the day, episode 4, HARDEARS. So just to give you guys a brief recap on what HARDEARS is. HARDEARS to me is a folklore epic that focuses very strongly on personifying Caribbean culture. It was co-created by Matthew Clark and Nigel Lynch. The art was done by Matthew Clark. This is another comic that was produced out of the Beyond Publishing Alliance. These guys do amazing work. I cannot stress that enough. And HARDEARS really pulls together a lot of Bajan folklore to do a very good job at social commentary on key topics in the Caribbean with relation to like life and love and culture, how nature affects technology, how people interact with authority, how people interact with prosperity. It is an amazing piece. So before we get started on breaking it down, we have our representative from Beyond Publishing. You want to add anything to this, Julian, before we get started?
All right, I'll just say a couple of things. It hard. 1, 2, it hard. 3, it hard. That's it.
But does it have
not biased at all?
Well, we know Julian always gives his unbiased opinion. He's not going to give everything 20s because he would never do that unless it was amazing.
I would never give 20s just free willily like that. No.
Of course not. So we're going to give our unbiased opinion. So guys, I would say let's get started and ask who wants to talk about the setting. Except I'm talking about the setting because I have opinions. So let's get started.
If you see me trying to like shift the camera, I'm trying to get like the light in the background to not shining the people face.
Oh, there you go. Looking professional. But yeah, so when it comes to the setting, me and Jessica had a conversation earlier this month, and it's going to be related to my pop culture highlight in segment 2. But we're talking about how the best fiction is often pulled from like decades, maybe centuries of history and like folklore, having pantheons and mythologies that are very well systematized and chronicled. So like Greek mythology, Asian mythologies, whether they're Japanese, Chinese, even like religious works, things based on Buddhism, Hinduism, etc. Those things are really well done. I was thinking that in the Caribbean, we really lack that. I was thinking that we don't really have the materials to go together a Caribbean pantheon. And I was like, that really sucks. Someone should really get around to making that. And then hilariously, like literally the same week, I actually read HARDEARS for the first time, and I was like, So Matthew and Nigel did that like 7 years ago, and I've just been sleeping on this thing for the entire time. So the setting of HARDEARS is amazing. You know me, I am not a lover of narratives. I'm not sitting down here looking for deep stories. I want lore, I want world building, I want system mechanics, I want mythology built into your stories, and beautifully HARDEARS give that to you up front. In this particular novel, this particular I guess packaging, the one that is coming out, these guys front load you with like literally 20 pages of lore, and I was in hog heaven. I could not be more pleased with the presentation of this book. So right up front, you get a layout of how the HARDEARS Islands work. The HARDEARS Islands are this world's fictional setting that's based heavily on the Caribbean. It speaks to different islands and how their different islands are inhabited by different races of humans, different types of jumbies. Jumbies are their mythological creatures. But the way that it's presented, and I think the research up into this was amazing. The way that it's presented, they're presented as different species of supernatural beings. So there's actually like little tidbits of ecology roped into it gets weaved into how the story is being told. So certain species act certain ways, they live in certain environments, and it reminded me a lot of how if you are watching anime and you see a kappa, like their turtle yokai, you know that kappas have specific qualities and you expect certain things from them. HARDEARS does exactly that, but for mythological beings that exist in Caribbean folklore. So they talk about the shaggy bears, they talk about the baku, they talk
Super
about super
Yants.
yants, they talk about moko jumbies. It is so incredibly well done. I have legitimately no complaints. My only complaint is that I didn't know this existed before, and I really feel that the work that Matthew and Nigel put into systematizing our Caribbean folklore for this book should form the basis of like our Caribbean folklore pantheon. This should be the Greek mythology of the Caribbean. I think it is amazing. Anybody want to add anything else?
Whew. Nah, I think that was. I think that was it. The setting.
Yeah, you put them up there.
The setting was great. I loved. You. I didn't think. I think you didn't. There was also the thing about the different guilds as well. So
Yes.
in the so you have the setting, you have the different types of people, you have the different types of supernatural beings, and then you have, because they're different islands and stuff, you have like all these different organizations, and each organization has their own interests. So they're sort of like political parties, but they have their own focus. So there's a science guild, there's a supernatural guild, there's I think it's a traders guild, there's an agriculture guild,
Yeah.
there's a merchants guild, and there was I can't remember, there was a defense guild as well, and I guess and they're tasked with the defense of the entire Juve Islands, which is the HARDEARS Islands.
The HARDEARS Islands, Juve Island
Right,
is
Juve
I think it's on.
You included
Right.
the aquatic or marine guild?
Is the Marine Guild, I think. I cannot remember the. Someone check it real quick.
Hang on.
But it's either is a Sea Guild or Marine. I don't know the actual name of it, but it's for the sea dwellers. It's for sailors, and merchants are also in that guild, and pirates, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So like Loki
can't be the Caribbean without pirates.
They did not focus too much on that guild specifically in this book, but technically that's me. I subscribe to like that guild. And my favorite character is from that guild.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into a bit more of that once we get into breaking down the characters.
Actually, yeah, a lot of the characters I like are from that guild. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Woo.
Which guild it is again? That is it? You saying Cameron?
The marine one, the one that has like the
Sea
waves
Guild.
as these. Yeah, sea guild.
Yeah, as the crest or whatever.
As the crest, yeah. Is the well the
Yeah.
all the pirate characters. I like I liked all the pirate characters, and I like
Oh my
the lady that has the undersea kingdom, the squid lady. I can't remember her name. She
the
is my
Thalia?
favorite character. Yeah,
Thalia? I
Yes,
don't know
she
that.
yes,
is my
yes.
favorite character, and she only had like what 2 splash pages, but the way that
Yeah.
the art was done, the splash pages made her look really like larger than life. And I wish I got to see more of her, but for what I got to see, I was like, oh, I'm in love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I
amazing.
think I think I definitely give these the handful marks because I'm big into like mythology, spooky stuff, folklore. So it's really interesting to see like not just even like folklore characters, but like more regional ones as well, kind of all pulled together in this setting. And then like the world is just like a surreal. I don't know if it would be futuristic, if you could say that's futuristic, but it's definitely like a surreal version of the Caribbean that is just so fun.
Yeah,
And I think like even though HARDEARS itself is like one self-contained story, like there's just so much in the lore, in the world, in the setting, in the different races and the different like the fact that the Science Guild technically is an offshoot from the Supernatural Guild, but they kind of have like a love-hate relationship, and
yeah, they don't like
like
their parents.
yeah, like the sea dwellers don't have representation in Parliament, so they're kind
Right.
of salty. Like there's just so much
So
other
there
stuff
we go.
outside of the actual story that's going on that like you could take the off, not off the HARDEARS universe, and you could literally like explore so many different stories from in the setting alone. And I think that's just really, really fun and really interesting. So yeah, they get full marks from me for that, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So, Shane in the comments is saying that it feels very heavily political from the very first book, and that is true because we'll get into this a bit more when we get to story, but Hardiers is a very strong social commentary piece in addition to like systematizing Caribbean lore very well. Tim is also asking
Yeah.
if the characters all carry logos of the guild they're in. They don't, but because the guilds are so steeped in the cultural aspects of the book, you can tell which guild people are in, like based on their dress and what they carry around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think it's only the Agri Guild workers that have
that have a uniform.
a uniform, and that's because I guess that's their uniform for working.
For
But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're in the land ship, you have a uniform as well, so you can quickly
Yeah.
identify where characters are from, even though they don't like, even though it isn't over, like they have a crest on their on their chest or whatever. So that's really really well done. So y'all ready for some scores?
Why not?
yeah, sure.
I
go
already
ahead.
have full marks. So
Yeah, 20 out of 20 for me too. I ain't playing. Let me just
Yeah.
get started.
Yeah,
Cam, go ahead.
oh,
Go ahead, Cam, because you already know what you said.
full mark, full mark. Oh,
Why
I'm
not
not
20 for me?
off the board.
full marks.
But
Yeah.
2 marks.
you know,
Okay, so that is a solid 20 across the board for the world building. And I think as far as stories we've reviewed so far, and I want to go as far as saying as far as stories I've read from Caribbean publishers. From Caribbean publishers, this is definitely the best built world I have seen across the board. Top 5, period,
mm,
of anything I've read. This is extremely, extremely good.
yeah.
So moving on to the story. Who wants to go first? I'll let somebody else have a chance.
I will go first.
Oh, what are the odds of that, Cameron?
Right.
Tell us about the story.
Okay, so I fell in love with the story. They gave you like 180 pages of sequential art, and it is so well. It is well done. I have like my little nicks and niggles about it, but I'll get to that later. But essentially, you have you have the overview, which is what they did in setting out the world and the world build, and then you go into what is currently happening in the story, which is like how how the inciting incident, what happens that leads into the story that they're trying to tell,
Mm.
and you get to know a lot of the characters and people that play in that and those first few few pages, few panels and stuff, and then that leads you on to this epic, and it's following like these different heroes or protagonists, and everything is so well set because like the way they built it is that it spreads out, so you get to see pretty much, if not all, most of the islands or most of the things that they highlighted in the front of the book, and then they try to pull it back together into one complete story, and I think they manage it well. My one gripe was the pacing. So for much of like for 170 pages, the pacing was on point and great and stuff. But there's at this one particular point where the Bolo's spirit friend, which is like a raccoon, he traverses into the nether realm where the spirits go, or where the spirits have gone to hide from man, essentially. Sort of like a whole, well, not like Avatar, but I guess sort of like the spirit realm from Avatar and stuff. If you're into like Korra and stuff like that, so I think from that point, the the ending or the climax of the story it feels a bit rushed because you have like all this build up. I'm expecting like a prolonged fight with the main characters and Harding, and essentially what he does is he shows one of the main characters what's going on over here. He got this magical weapon almost by chance, and then she knows exactly what to do to destroy the main antagonist, and boom, it's done. And then you have the epilogue, which I like. In terms of the epilogue, I like how they show you what happens after the big bad evil guy is defeated and stuff. And the epilogue was good. I like everything leading up to the climax, but I felt the climax was a bit rushed. But other than that, I think the story was great. Like I don't have any complaints. There's no like no Deuce X's. There's nothing in my mind that was like a plot hole or anything from my standpoint. It was well thought out and well executed.
Mm.
The only thing that I have left unanswered is like the initial storm or hurricane that they tried to stop that they didn't destroy. Like, did Mr. Harding initiate it? Was it some other force that did it? Because we don't know, and it was never explained. But I mean, that's neither here nor there, really, I suppose. So yeah.
Yeah, man, I agree entirely. So I guess what we should add, and I guess this is half story, but this is also part of the world building and setting and stuff. So what HARDEARS does is it really tries to put a lot of like day-to-day Caribbean life into this mythical world. So the main character, I would consider Bolo the main character. So the main character Bolo, he's from Juve Island, and Juve Island is very clearly Barbados. He is a worker in the agricultural guild. He is the king of the crop. He's basically the most impressive and efficient cutter of sugarcane. They call it sweet cane in this comic, and it's harvested for vibes. Vibes is basically this world's magic system. So I guess humans produce positive vibes, and then other things will produce negative vibes. So for those of you who don't know, Barbados's economy in the past was heavily related to sugarcane before we I guess focus more on tourism, and now we're trying to diversify. But it really takes a big leaning towards that part of our history. Another thing that it has these hurricanes, and the hurricane is like Cameron said, is the inciting event. It's what really gets the story in motion. And the Caribbean is right smack dab in the middle of the hurricane belt. So every year during hurricane season, it's just Russian roulette on whether or not we're going to be smashed by some random Category 5 hurricane. So in this, hurricanes are like these sentient beings. They form in hurricane nurseries, which is basically the coast of Africa, and then they're like they're nurtured, and then they hit the Juve Islands. Except in this story, the Hardiers Islands. In this story, the Hardiers Islands has the land ship, and the land ship is like their military force, and they go out and battle hurricanes and defeat them before they hit the islands. So in this story, there's a really powerful hurricane that, for some unexplained reason, like wrecks the land ship, and it kicks the story off into everything that happens. So I guess that wasn't quite explained, but I mean that couldn't have not been Mr. Harding's fault.
Yeah. Strongly implied that is Mr. Harding's fault.
I can't agree, because for me it's like how very convenient that he came into the island of Reals, that it was really devastated, like literally, like every single insurance agent, whenever we ever get hit by a hurricane, and just say, oh yes, well, we can do this for you and we can do that for you. Just come sort yourself, work for us, and then we'll get that. But obviously, it's for ulterior motives and nefarious purposes. That's because Harding is always in our folklore as he is represented as hard times. So obviously, when he shows up, it is a hard time. So he's actually looking to get something from this, not to really give back to anything. So for me, it felt like more self-explanatory on that end, because like, how is it that he just showed up at this point to build this?
It felt very heavily. Well, it was never really like he was going like he definitely did this to make this hurricane stronger than all the other hurricanes. He definitely implied that some very underhanded dealing happened from here somehow, you know. So yeah, I think for me, I definitely enjoyed the story, but for me, I will put a disclaimer first. I really beginning to relate with you. Like, you're 2 seconds away from spending the entirety of my money back staring at this
You're sounding very muffled, Jess. We can't quite make you out well.
Oh, sorry. Down to the yeah, but like this month, I was just here so I don't get free. So for me, I kind of had to run game harder. So that may have an impact on how I felt about the story, but it definitely felt like I like Jujutsu Kaisen, but one thing that I have as a complaint about Jujutsu Kaisen is I feel like the facing issues that I have with Jujutsu Kaisen is kind of similar to the facing issues I have with HARDEARS. In terms of there's a lot happening, and it seems like this happens, something else happens, and it's like again, it might be because I had to speed run the reading. I'm open to it being my fault, but really, really like a narrative where it was just like and breathe and kind of like sit with the implication of what this might mean for like the narrative or in general. Like the themes do come through really clearly, which I really like, without it being like very heavy-handed and like these are the themes of this story, guys. You need to understand.
There was a lot of subtext.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. Even when you are like, shit, I got done this like power reading. Like the themes and everything are still really clear, but I may have to maybe reread it later at a more leisurely pace and see if I can see the pacing of the story feels to me. But it feels very much like there's so much that I would have loved to get into, but it was just like, we don't have time, girl. Shit is happening. You need to go. That was very much felt for me. Like I wanted to know more about the field centipede. You know, like I want to know more about Lord and his the siblings squabbles. Like there's so many.
No one needs to know more about giant centipedes. Just choose violence
every day. wake up and choose violence.
Why are they so big? Like, I just have so many questions because they have like they were talking about a few centipede acts, and I'm like, how much of a nuisance are they? Like, there's so many different.
Look at them.
I just saying technically that the centipede had from say like St. George or St. Thomas or something. He built the area.
That is a St. Philip
That is
centipede.
a St.
I don't know,
Philip.
that's
St. George does not
that is
claim
a
them at all.
St. Philip or a St. John centipede. B.
Yeah, let's convert over that. We don't claim them.
Real big. Really
Yeah,
big.
a big boy.
Real big.
Indeed,
So it's like when Bola actually came to see it, to actually cut one in half, he actually grew in size to actually get to it. Because he I think he's like above average of a normal person, but yes, he's growing in size to do stuff. I think is when he actually gets vibes and stuff that he actually gets to confident, faster, bigger.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that. I did not notice that.
But
Oh, I definitely noticed that. So we're gonna keep going back to world building, guys. I'm sorry. So so a key aspect of the world is that everything generates vibes. Well, everything natural generates vibes. Humans generate positive vibes, and it can be used to create complex vibes.
There's basic and complex vibes, and then all vibes exist on a spectrum from positive to
From
negative.
Yeah, true story.
Yeah.
Right. So humans can create complex vibes, and like certain humans produce so much vibes that they basically have superpowers. So you will notice that Bolo isn't just like a regular human; he's literally superpowered. So his part of his superpower, in addition to like physical enhancement, is that he shrinks and grows depending on his vibes output. So you'll note that in some shots, like Zara will be chest height, then sometimes she'll be like upper ab height, and then literally other scenes she'll be waist height to Bolo, depending on like how gassed up he's getting.
Yeah, he does.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's mad sick.
For me, one of the things that I guess we can get into this a little bit more with the characters, but what I love seeing in this book is like the sentient beings that they have created, especially with the hurricanes. Because I never
love
thought of bringing a hurricane to like literally, and along with my God, that was genius.
Yeah,
that
was
cool. Turned into one to actually form a ship itself, not like Voltron itself, but literally it just works that way, and then just see them just panning, just moving in certain places. Whereas that they are using the line ship. They
are literally spirit bending.
And it looks like earth bending, but it just you see the movement of how they used to work with how the line ship. When you watch line ship in person, how they work with it, they translate that into the book. And I was like, I didn't think about that until they saw it. I was like, those two things for sure stand out the most for me as in terms of how the character story also. Along with going on, then Harding and then other characters, but to see it is mind blowing.
Yeah, agreed. So context for my boy Tim, who is not Barbadian or from the Caribbean. The land ship is a performance crew. It's basically a bunch of people. They dress up in naval military wear and they do these cultural dances in Barbados, and they are basically the on land symbolization of symbolism. Wow, of like naval procedures and stuff, but it's done from a dance. So in this, the land ship is actually a military outfit, but they don't have traditional ships. Through the dancing and the power of a particular type of music that's common in Barbados that's indigenous Barbados called tuck band music, they actually summon the spirits of their ancestors, and that's like very steeped in our African ancestry. So it's summon spirits of their ancestors to create a boat that's formed from just amalgamated spirits, and it's top shelf stuff, guys. I can't gush enough over how much I love the world building in HARDEARS. Also, please excuse Jessica for dropping in and out constantly. This is what you get for sacrificing Ian. But it had to be done. It had to be done. Ian, you're sacrificing.
This is why you don't go to jail, kids, because the Wi-Fi sucks.
Stays.
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Yeah. And we can tell that you in jail because we can actually see your cellmate in and out with the shots sometimes.
Oh god.
Shout outs to Jailhouse Bubba. Big up yourself, buddy.
So
So the
But
only thing
yeah.
I will add before we get into scoring, because I think we're going to be on story all day. With,
Yeah.
with regards to the pacing, a lot of the books we've reviewed so far felt not quite episodic because they told a story, but they felt like they were released in episodes, and it felt like you were reading a series. Harder feels like a 3 hour big budget movie.
Right.
So to me, that's the pacing. The pacing is that this is a movie. We don't have time for any like life elements. This is like a Marvel movie. So stuff
Yeah,
happens at the beginning, and we are going full tilt until the end, and then there's a conclusion. So the story literally goes in that arc, and I personally love it because you can pick up Offset as a graphic novel and read through it, and it's like watching a movie. And at the end, you're satisfied and you're done because you've gotten everything you needed. So for me,
You mean your HARDEARS because you said Offset just now.
Sorry,
I think we were saying Offset as giving an example, then because he like
Yeah,
Offset. I thought.
Yeah. So Offset to me is a shonen anime, so it's like a 14 episode series, whereas HARDEARS is literally like Captain America Winter Soldier. It's a movie, you sit through it from start to finish, and it's gourmet reading.
Yeah.
So
and it doesn't feel like any unnecessary or wasted elements. So it's pretty efficient as far as the storytelling goes as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I have to say. You guys ready to throw some scores at this thing?
Sure.
Or who wants to go first?
I'll give it a 18 out of the 20 because of the pacing issue that I have with it. In that last part in the fight scene when they were battling Mr. Harding and how quickly he was defeated. I kind like is like you said, nah. You literally build up Harding to be like Thanos. And then he just kept on getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then he died in one hit, one critical hit, and he died. And I'm like,
he was not built to be like Thanos. He's supposed to be built like
I'm saying that you built him up to like that sort of level of bad guy. He
ain't a bad guy. You just literally see him.
He's not a bad guy.
I think for me,
I think he literally sucked the energy out of people, B.
Because he's shite, he can't do nothing else.
the man is like a what is it? Energetic vampire. Like he literally.
Wait, spoiler.
No,
it's a review show, so yes.
Oh yeah, that's I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Spoiler alert! Spoilers.
We are
spoiler
spoiling
alert.
Stuff.
We're gonna tell you shit.
Like this. If I really care right now, if you're spoiling, no.
I don't know.
Be like 40 minutes in.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry, guys. But I feel like he's less of a Thanos, and I think the story is more akin to a V for Vendetta. If the villain in V was also a vampire.
Exactly.
I think it's more like that.
So let me get in. We're still on story, right? So let me get in some of these subtexts. I like the subtext about nature versus industry. Our environment. I like the subtext about capitalism and liberalism, and how liberalism will take everything that you hold dear and try to turn it into profit for the benefit of a few, already 1%, and that's what Mr. Harding is. He is literally capitalism, being the embodiment of capitalism and everything wrong with capitalism, and at the same time he's a supernatural being who shouldn't want things, like shouldn't be interested in industry. But because I guess he has a actual human side, he's half natural, half human. He's like the worst of both worlds. He's like the worst of both worlds. Like,
Both worlds.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean,
Yeah.
like that's very much part of his story in terms of him being like a foot in this world and a foot in the supernatural world. But also,
Yeah.
Harder's as a book is it's very steep in both, like because humans as they exist generate vibes and they can use vibes to have supernatural abilities. Like the supernatural nature, which is to me like the physical embodiment of our culture in the book, is tied like intrinsically to us as people. So Harding being this supernatural negative entity, whereas humans are kind of like generally positive but kind of still trash. It fits like super well. And how do I say it? What it does is it turns what would be a philosophical, social, economic issue. So it's very much social commentary, but it sticks it in the supernatural realm so that we can have fisticuffs. Instead of having like this big philosophical debate, we personify things and then we have them do actual battle so that it's visually
Right. So it's basically like how the opposite of what Vision did in WandaVision. Whereas
Yes.
kind of like we have fisticuffs, but technically they actually had a philosophical debate. Yeah,
They had an actual argument instead of having a battle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So this is the other way around. Correct.
So
It takes social issues that we have.
It was starting to miss this point, but you know what? Let's change the narrative.
Exactly. It takes issues that we have in terms of protecting the environment versus making more money. Sticking to who we are as people and embracing our culture versus doing what we need to do to eat some food. Because I would love to be, out there drawing and doing what I love and playing video games and, being a scrub. But I gotta work so that I could pay my bills and support my family. So like it puts these very real issues.
Just saying.
Big up yourself, fat man. Yes, so it puts like these very real world issues into this large and life supernatural battle, which I think was excellent storytelling. If I had to put a number on it, I'm like Cameron. I don't think the story was perfect, but it was damn near perfect. So I give it a 13 as well. It was amazing. You know what I think about it? I give it a 20. I think the issues are small enough that I wouldn't mark it down. I love the story.
I'm going to give it 19 and a half just because.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
I can pull a Cameron and say 16.
I know you had pacing issues, Jessica, so we'll allow it.
Yeah, but I think for me is also being given so much in this really exciting world and just wanting to have more and not getting more. Again. So I'm just like, I'm giving you less marks because you should have given me more story, guys. Here's the rest.
We got a 20, we got an 18, we got a 19.5, and you say you gave it how much, Jessica?
16.
16.
Yes.
Just because. All right, fair enough.
Okay, so that's an 18 overall. So we're still doing pretty well.
They're doing pretty good.
Let us move on to characters. Who wants to have a go at characters first?
But let me go first. So you have, like you said, that we were saying for the whole entire part, whereas is this lovely and lush idea of different characters of the world building. Now, obviously, you have like this character named Bolo. He works in the agriculture sector, and he is the king of crop, like you said. But he looks like Akuma with Sonic hair. So if you can imagine that, literally, he does look like that. So you can imagine like he actually looks like that with this big lush with Collins lenses.
Oh, let's show the man, the boy
Bolo, because like he is the spot on, like physically, like the poster boy for this whole entire thing. Anyway, so why not? To me, he is working towards to getting something else from differently because he's the man, he's this. But I think feel like there's something more that he needs to get from this point. But there was a point where that it went to the United ship, which is one of my favorite parts of the book anyway. So like I just saying. But I would love it because he is the heroic type because he ends up saving the hero, right? I'm correct? That's his name?
Yeah, he's the hero.
Right.
I mean Zara?
Zara. That's it. Because I thought it was the heroes are hard to potato. All right. Forgive me. So I like but basically I like those characters. But to me, what stands out, like I said before, with these sentient characters, like the ships itself and the hurricanes, because they seem way larger than life and indestructible. And for some reason, it just felt like they have more appeal than most of the characters for me, because because the other characters carry along the story, but for me to actually like seeing like these great, like it's kind of like for me is the opposite of seeing the Leviathans actually travel in Avengers, but for more that these actually have like bigger roles in itself. So I felt more compelled to see what they were, and the vehicles in this whole entire setting is crazy because you have like policemen and
The vehicles. Yeah, I think I think when they created that, they were all like on an acid trip.
No, for real. Like honestly, I know I've done a lot of things like differently, but this was a different idea because you have policemen traveling on sharks, and you got flying fish on top of a minibus, and
Yes,
Zadar,
it's
as
sick.
you can see here, it was something like totally out of this world. Like you would never imagine. It's like literally like smashed together. Like peanut butter and jelly and sardines smashed together. You never think they would go together, but they actually do. Like literally. It's like an Oscar's lunch and it goes together. Literally. But it's like, all right, you can't imagine it working, but it does work in this world.
Yeah, somehow
it matches together. And one key point that I'd like to see, and then no, I should say this. Another standout character for me is Sam Lord himself, because he is not the typical character you would see as a hero or anti-hero. If you want to call him anti-hero, that's how I would see it. He's more like a short, big head imp to me because he looks like a mix of Nemesis or Batmite or something, but he has indications where that he can probably turn at any moment's notice at any point. And for me, that's the most, because like those characters really stand out for me more so than the characters that were on the poster itself. It gives me it because they're for me their purpose for that was to draw me in. But the other characters that we're already talking about will stand out for me more because I got more interest in it. I have to see what they are going with it, and then the Squid Queen, as you know, can like solo.
Do not belittle her by calling her the Squid Queen. She is the Kraken. She is the Kraken Queen.
The Kraken Queen.
So,
right?
So this is our boy Sam Lord here.
The big boobies and big butt. All right. So I love the idea. I love the idea what they're doing with these characters, and it makes the world much more interesting. And again, it's like I think I need a HARDEARS Part 2 or something.
Yeah, I need more than a Part 2. I need like a whole series. I need HARDEARS books on my bookshelf. Like I have George R.R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire on my bookshelf. That's what I need. For real.
Yeah. I think we need an expanded HARDEARS universe because
I agree
like even it's telling different stories, like completely unrelated stories to what we see in this. I think we just need to see more of this world.
It is that good.
I think we're talking about characters now, right?
Yeah.
Like I think like reading the book at first, because obviously you kind of get into the book following Bolo, incredibly strong king, cutting man, and his love interest, Big Boss Zara.
It's just like, you know.
Yeah, like you kind of come into the story following them. And I mean, like, if you think of them as just the protagonists, that like the main characters that you're supposed to care about, then like character wise, the book might be a bit dry. But I feel like overall, like all of the characters that you see across the length of the story, like individually, some of them might be more entertaining than others, but in terms of like the combination, so like when the land ship crew kind of wash up on Sam Lord's island, and then like the interaction between like these kind of stiff military people and this very like laissez faire. I'm definitely not a pirate, but I'm totally a pirate. um like the character interactions, different types of characters, like just a different Hadra, am I even using that word correctly? But yeah, like just the cast of characters to me is strong enough to kind of make you overlook like the fact that, you know, Bolo's a bit like a bull in a china shop in terms of like character. Like big head like guy. I mean, he seems nice enough, but he's definitely a bit on the head side, which you know,
Definitely.
mileage may vary. Sarah kind of comes across more as like a sassy but nice lady, like a kind lady, caring lady. But yeah, so it's, you know, like it would be very easy to kind of reduce the characters down into trope, so to speak. But I think over the breadth of the story, because there's just so many characters and then all the different interactions and all that other good stuff, it kind of like a strength in numbers. It kind of gives like a strength in numbers kind of thing. And
Right.
also, Sam Lord is hilarious. I'm sorry. Like,
John Lord's my guy.
Yeah. Sam Lord's cracked me up.
John Lord's my
yeah,
guy.
and there's a comic as well. And there's just like he's all his siblings seem like super serious, like, you know, fighting for honor and control.
Mhm.
I can get the mentorship right here and there, rob them. Nice. Yeah.
But Sam has, well, again, to me, I see him as the anti-hero anyway in this whole entire story. So it's like he has his own motives, but it's like, all right, well, this is my motive, so therefore I can just do this and do that. But just making sure that I look like a pirate, but I'm not really not. Really, I am a pirate, but I just need to tell you. So it makes it, and he's fun. Like you said, Jessica, he's much more fun than his other siblings because he goes to start totally. She always look like
Yeah, be like she's
Yeah,
always
she's 30, 24.
weird.
You know what's the weird thing? Like most of the characters that I love about this story weren't the main characters.
Exactly.
yeah.
That's what I'm
Agreed.
saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I liked Sam Lord's brother and sisters because
Yeah,
they
they were
seem like interesting characters.
I
Pirates.
would agree to see about the Sam Lord family, like the Lord family, like how they ended up.
Agreed.
Like those are some shenanigans that I
There's a frame there's a panel in the comic like on page 144 where Sam Lords is sneaking on to the island to sabotage his family, and they're literally sneaking into it, and there's like these pirates having a discussion. I can read it for you. It's like Pirate 1, I
Well,
find
yes.
the ale to be a bit quite balanced this time of the year, and then the next part is like a bit more robust and complex, if you ask me. And then the other one is like it tastes like the same bilge to me. And then like in the next slide, it blows up. Like the the dialogue of the of characters that don't even mean anything are so cool and hilarious.
Up the
Anyways,
Bruh,
what page did you say that was, Cameron?
That
World,
was
innit?
144. Because
Yeah,
I wanted to go through it on another screen just to like highlight some stuff to y'all about. Maybe get to the art about some of the sequences I liked and stuff, like panels that were really, really well done.
I don't think my page numbers are mix or adding up to yours, Cameron?
Well, it's the comment page 103, so I don't know where it would be.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah, it's comment page 103 because I think before that you have the lower build. So I guess you have to add 20 to it.
Well,
That would make
it
sense.
depends on these splash pages. The splash pages could throw off the page count a little bit.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah,
But
like
that was good.
yeah. So like the main characters, I feel very like tepid, cool warm about them. But like the extended cast of characters, I'm just like, yeah, this is.
They do seem interesting. The extended cast of characters.
All right, so better late than never. This is the thing you were talking about.
I mean,
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I was kind of meh on the main cast. Bolo he's like a nice guy. He's kind of your generic main character. I was kind of meh on him. I did find Zara kind of boring. She was also just like the hot female love interest, but otherwise not particularly interesting. That said, I feel like what Matthew and Alan do especially well though is right for the average person. And I feel like these characters were very much like the quintessential every man and every woman. Zara was literally every single hot granddaughter of Rana Opal in the village. And Bolo was just like And Bolo was kind of just no. But yeah, Bolo is kind of like your average dude. Like he's not hyper intelligent. He's not like super swaggy. He doesn't have the best job, but he works hard. He's good at what he does, and he's just likable,
Right. Yeah.
But there couldn't be the everyman, and I guess the everyman isn't my guy personally. I like the exceptional. So I think it was really good that they had other characters. So my personal favorite character is the commander of the land ship, the lady the team that lands on Sandlar's Island.
She was my favorite of the main cast. Yeah. Because because it's like she's not supposed to be in this situation.
Yeah.
But she's thrown into it and she is handling it the best she could.
Yep.
Pretty much.
If you can show them, it would be page 103. That's Ophelia. That's the character that I told you about. The cracking lady. Like that screen. And then like
the Empress or the Sea Empress or something.
Empress, the Sea Empress lady. Because it's that screen, because it has her as a body, like as a literal person. Mm-hmm. But in the background, you have like this. I don't know if it's her true form or whatever, or like this.
Yeah, I think is her true form. So this is her like human body, and honestly, then in the background of that, let me zoom out a bit.
Yeah, is her.
Lord,
I think like, can you go back to her kind of human body, quote unquote? Because that's giving me like huge Queen of the Band energy, like like when
it is.
You don't really.
Oh, sorry, gone wrong.
Couple pages, but yeah,
it's
like
gonna get there. It's gonna get there.
but
go ahead.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Queen of the Band. Like I don't think we've had the King and Queen of the band competition last couple of years. Because it used to be like around the same time as Kahablapat, or like either the same day or the same venue, or one or the other. I can't exactly remember. But for the non-Caribbean people, like you may be familiar with like Trinidad Carnival, Rio de Janeiro Carnival, Barbados Kadooment. So you may be familiar with like, the everyman costume of like sparkly bikini full of like beads and gemstones and feathers and stuff. But for I guess earlier in the juggling, like each of the bands would have sections, and the sections would have themes. But the bands would have like a king and a queen picture like these enormous, ostentatious, like moving sculptures, basically. Yeah,
There you go.
and I feel like, especially when you zoom in on her like full body form, like when you just have that in the screen, it's given like reminds me so much of like a Queen of the Band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things everywhere. So you got like the basics, which is just like costume, you know, like bubbies, headpiece, leg wear, have,
Yeah.
like abstract shapes and sequins and colors in the background. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, given how much homework they've done on the series, that is kind of intentional. And if it is,
Oh, it
even if
definitely
it
was.
isn't, I love a good king and queen of the band moment.
I think the best part of this whole interaction and this whole like sequence of
Oh
frames
yeah,
leading up to this is when when she was like, you haven't even like come to visit your sons or anything to Sam Lord, insinuating that the Krakens, that the actual Krakens are are his children. And I'm
yeah.
like when you say like children, you mean like pets, or you mean like y'all do the
Nah, she
nasty
she definitely means biological
and this
kids.
is and Sam Lord is not only a pirate but a
Listen,
deadbeat dad.
listen,
Like, and this is her
Big,
Listen,
big
offspring.
Beowulf energy in this. I'm telling you,
Yo,
this is like proper mythology. This is a Beowulf vibe,
correct.
true and true.
You went in, you do the nasty, he
And
breathed in,
now he got some squid
and that's it.
babies.
no, he got squid babies and don't want to pay no
No
child
child
support.
support, none. Because he
Spoiler
was
alert, I will have y'all know that Sam is a good dad and he does provide support to his kids. You'll see
like,
when you read the book.
like,
You'll see when you read the book, Sam is a good
like,
boy. But no, from what Jessica was saying though, in terms of the King and Queen of the Band, I am sure that is deliberate. One of
yeah,
Yeah,
the main features of humans in the HARDEARS world is that humans have like dressings on their head. Their hair is in the form of these feather-like dressing, and that is completely a reference to crop over or to carnival costumes. It's generally like bikinis for women and just shorts for men. And you have the feathered head dresses. You have stuff on your hands and your feet. And all of the humans in the Hardiers world have like this feather light here, which is why Bolo's here kind of looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. And then he has the hairy arms and the hairy chest. That's very indicative of a Kaduma costume. And the like their plumage, their hair and the colors and stuff vary from island to island to like represent how different islands have their own carnival for different spin on it. So I mean, like it's subtle, but it's there. Like these guys did their research. It's crazy, crazy. So I think we've lost Jessica. I'm going to put her in timeout for the time being.
because
I think
she
she said she was trying to get back on. She was in backstage. She said, and it wouldn't let her turn her mic or cam. So see if she could do something to start her
I'll
out.
see her when she gets in.
Yeah, cool.
I can kick her and have her try to rejoin.
she in jail. She supposed to go on scrubby toilets, but she refused.
Indeed,
This
indeed.
time,
Stay out of jail, people. Stay out of jail. Stay in school.
that's one of that sacrifice to get in. Damn it, for
Look, man, we had to do it. There was way too much Ashley Barbados. We had to get rid of it.
all right. But we still got that, so it makes sense.
It's true.
Uh-huh.
Jessica is back.
Oh,
There
Right.
you go.
yeah. I was having a bit of a moment there. Right.
Someone tried to shank you, we know.
Yeah,
Christmas rough.
don't go to jail, kids. The Wi-Fi sucks.
But yeah, man. So there are definitely heavy themes in like heavy carnival themes woven right into everything that we do. Well, everything that's in Harders. So I love it, love it, love it.
Correct.
So characters, people. How much points are we giving them for characters?
Character. I feel like at the character design itself, and then the characters themselves. I can't, like I said, I can't find a fault with the characters. It's good. Like everything is like everything that we that we highlighted that was wrong with their Life and Death in Paradise
Mm-hmm.
book is like everything that we said was wrong with it and things that they should do to fix it was done in this book. And that was like that's way before us. So it shows that they have like a good self-examination of their own works and they're improving on the quality that they're producing when they do this stuff. So like I can't like credit enough on that because everything I said I would have wanted in the previous book they did in this book. So yeah, get them the marks, get them
Oh
the
Lord,
square.
Cameron, you giving these people a 20 for
I'm
characters?
consistent.
All right.
Wow.
My
All
message is always on point, so I'm consistent. So
if you do say
if you
so yourself.
if you get a 10 or a 20 or a 3 and someone else gets a 20, you can see why. So,
Fear. So I'll be bad mind for characters. I just found Bolo to be a very boring person, and I found Zara to also be extremely boring. I like all of the side characters way more. I actually like Harding quite a bit. I love Harding's mom a lot. I like the landship.
yes.
I like everybody in the landship, to be honest. I thought they were amazing. The Lord family was hilarious. Cephala, I would read a comic book about Cephala, but I don't care about Bolo at all. Or Zara. They could fall in the ditch. That's the truth.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I will give
Yeah.
them 16 out of 20 for characters. Very good. They did a lot more right than they did wrong, but their main cast, I just can't get behind them.
I would
enough.
I probably might give him like an 18 because
Yeah. Marginally better-minded. A 17.
I mean,
Jessica, you are a robot. I can't hear anything you're saying.
yeah, you sound like Uni Matrix.
There we
You
go.
just
There we go.
Oh,
Hello?
You went to the Decepticon voice or something.
we can barely hear you. Type your score in the chat. Type your score in the secret producer chat.
See, kids, this is why you need to go stay in school.
And don't sacrifice your friends to volcanoes.
Yes.
Unless the ash gets real bad. In that case, you gotta hold that L for the team. Sorry, guys.
So I take 115. Sorry, Ian. You'll be back next month.
Yeah, he's deaf. He's immortal. He'll be back. Give us your score, Jeff.
Yeah, sorry. I was saying that I would be marginally better-minded than you and give them a 17. But pretty much the same reasons that you outlined. But I think like the cast as a whole, I appreciate them. So yeah, 17 out of 20.
whereas
that's cool.
whereas I will agree with you all
I-
in regards to the main cast is not particularly that interesting.
Did I-
I
Right.
think I got enough of everyone else that I'm satisfied. But
Yeah,
so
I mean, and
I
that's
still
fair, but
maintain,
it's
and I still maintain my. So that's why I will still maintain my score. I got enough of everyone else that I was interested in. That it didn't matter.
Yeah,
And that's
like,
fine. That's reasonable, to be honest.
to me, like Bolo is like a. Do you put like two interesting leads in the whole entire movie, and then everybody else is like happen to outshine them for a while. So, I still maintain my score as 18 though.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I mean, 16 out of 20 is still like basically an 8 out of 10. So it's still a pretty good score. It's just it could have been better if Bolo and Zara were a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
So moving on to the art. Who wants to go first on art?
That's on camera.
I can go first on art.
Go
actually.
first.
I can go first on art.
All right.
So I was telling Julian this earlier, and I think this is very fitting. I feel like so Matthew is the one who did the art on HARDEARS, and Matthew Clark is an amazing artist. No cap, Matthew's skills are top notch. But Matthew, huh?
Yeah, his skills is on par, really.
Yeah. They're super good. But I feel like Matthew's art is very good for the type of stories that he wants to tell, even if it is not always like the sexiest art in terms of like the most
Like
eye
Candy.
catching art.
Yeah.
So I likened other artists to like looking at to like candy. So it's eye candy. You look at it, it's not necessarily the most technically sound art, but it's pretty. You just want to look at it. Matthew's art is like it's like a home cooked meal. It got vegetables, it got the right amount of starch, the right amount of protein. It is well rounded, balanced, healthy art that you can admire. But it's not the sexiest art for me. What I love about the art for Hardiers in particular is that it's like quintessentially Caribbean. The mahi mahi, the dolphin that is on top of the let me pull it up. The dolphin that's on top of the minibus
Yeah.
in the opening lower section, that is pulled straight from Barbados's coat of arms. So like stuff like that to me is it speaks to his quality of storytelling through art. So like let me zoom in. That blue, red, and green fish that is on Barbados coat of arms. You find it on our coins. It's in a lot of imagery that is specific to Barbados. The
Mhm.
fish in the top left, next to the hammerhead shark, that's a flying fish. Flying fish is again quintessential to Barbados. And these things, like that flying fish, looks like a real flying fish that you would buy in Oystins. The
Yeah.
mahi mahi looks very much like the depiction of the fish that is on our coat of arms. So his art is so technically sound and so well done that it's hard to not appreciate what Matthew does artistically. It's
Exactly.
not like bright and colorful and cheery, but it's amazing. I mean, look at that minibus. It looks like it was done in. It looks like he took a real bus and just
Put a fish on top of it.
traced it line by line. Like his technical drawing skills are absolutely insane. We also spoke on this in Life and Death in Paradise when it came to like drawing buildings. Like how he wouldn't
Yeah.
say what area it is, he would just draw a building and you were like, oh, I know this specific building. I can tell you what street it's on in Barbados. Like when he draws things, you have no question that it's from Barbados and you know exactly what he's referring to without him having to say what it is. And I think that is genuinely amazing.
Hmm. Agreed. For me, the art, because I was thinking maybe I've seen more from it because I was looking for like more in the technical aspect, whereas that those things that you mentioned before with his eye for detail for certain things that it works. But for me, the art seems flat as in terms of color. Um, there were certain scenes inside the book that were highlighted to make a point and statement, sure, but everything else it just seems flat. But for
I
me,
think
because
that
I've seen
was.
Matthew's work,
I think that was
I see
purposeful
Matthew's work. I think so. I think it was purposeful, but for me, when they
because
start talking about his
if you notice, everywhere that Harding isn't is bright and colorful, and everywhere that he has influence, the color swatches go from bright and vibrant to pastel.
Mm,
Oh, hello.
I never noticed that until you mentioned it, but it makes sense because he kills and sucks the life and all the
He sucks.
vibes
He
out of
literally
everything.
sucks the vibe out of everything,
Yep, he
Yep.
does.
and
So
that is. I was saving like I thought I should have mentioned that in the setting or the story,
it
but
works out.
it actually works for the art because it gives you a tone or like an atmosphere of what they're trying to portray, the sentiment or the feeling is in a specific scene.
Right.
So I think it works well. I think it works well because I noticed like when it started, the colors were really vibrant and bright and stuff, and
Right.
then like the more the the story dragged on. Well, not dragged on, but the paler it got, and I was like, "Why is this?" And then I was like, "Oh, it's you. You're the reason. You're
Yeah,
sucking. You're literally sucking the life out of everything."
that's what he sucks. Get away
Yeah,
from
so this is a good example of what Cameron is talking about. So when the thing starts out, it's very rich, very colorful, very vibrant. You can see all the different characters, and they're like different color here, and it looks like a carnival. And
Right.
then you can fast forward to like an arbitrary. Oh, this is the spirit world.
See, there you
But
go.
yeah, like the color palette just gets very very gray, very purple.
Yeah, this is the battle when he landed on the thing. I think you would probably have to go back to when the hurricane hit when he first showed up to show you
Yeah,
how the
when
world
he showed up
looks.
in American, that makes a bit more because
It's probably like around page 10 of the comic and stuff.
Cool.
I think like page 4, 5, 6, or 7 is another example of good coloring. That's when the land ship was attacking the hurricane. And that is a spread. There are two spreads back to back to show how detailed and how they tell their stories just through panels and stuff too.
Uh-huh.
But this is a lot to this is actually a lot to unpack, guys.
No, definitely. So this is the big landship battle right here.
love that scene.
This was so epic.
Captain,
Man.
what we do? Jump ship, we swim. Cold blast. Man, that's what we do. That was funny.
What do we do next? Prepare to swim.
Swim.
That was so hilarious. They lost, and he told them, "Oh, let's learn to swim quick."
That was my thing. Going back to like the ulterior motive of Harding, I believe to me. I mean, Matthew or Nigel will probably gonna tell me this differently, but again, I think that was definitely planned for Harding. Harding actually, I don't know how he did it, but however he did it, it seems like it was just a little bit too convenient for him to actually swoop in.
I had a theory
Yeah.
about that I forgot to talk about earlier. So this is definitely a spoiler alert, but you will be aware that Harding is half human, half something else.
Right.
What he is half of the other thing, it's an entity that's related to fire, and heat feeds hurricanes. So I am quite convinced that he had that if he didn't, that his parental unit had a direct hand in making that storm into a superstorm. But that's just a theory, a comic theory.
Show them the next page after this where because the storm actually has like yeah,
You
it
swim.
actually is an entity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Like I said, so I know we do what we rave a lot about like Tristan's art in terms of how like delicious it is. There are lots of artists on here who I highlight for the art, like just being like sexy. You want to lick the page. Harders to me doesn't have that kind of like immediately appealing eye candy. You just want to lick the page art. But what it does is it is so technically sound that when it comes to communicating messages and communicating themes, communicating like subtext through art, telling a story with colors, that kind of stuff, I think Matthew did an amazing job.
Yeah. For me, I think it works, but I think there are certain things that I miss from it because I'm used to seeing a particular style from Matthew. So for this, it just felt like it just went from one point to another. It's kind of like you see, like you baking up, you friend a bake or something. Then you, obviously you have like a you say you see it all gooey and stuff, and then you turn over, just see it, so just pine. I'm like, that was supposed to come on that side, but just a flip on the other side. So I was like, all right, well, it works. Story works for it. Everything else works for it. The story building, the technical aspect of it works. But for me, I just say that would love to like see a bit more of it as in terms of like shade and different things that he would use, like the diffuse light and all different things that he had done before in the other books. Like this one, it was like, all
No,
right,
I mean that's definitely a fair. People definitely know that Matthew's art can be a lot more visually appealing. The coloring in the first two issues and the third issue of Life and Death in Paradise was amazing. It was very very top
Immaculate.
notch. Yeah, so we definitely know that Matthew has a lot more in his skill
Now,
range.
Mohz, I'm here flipping through the panels again, and there's definitely like from the time the hurricane hit
Mm-hmm.
to the time Harden died, everything went from vibrant to just
Bland.
pale,
Yeah,
bland.
I
Yeah,
see. Because I'm interested in the books
losing
itself.
vibes, and I think that's a good thing that Matthew isn't afraid to use his art to tell stories. Jessica is slipping me messages through her prison contacts. She's saying that the art for HARDEARS gives her a very strong retro vibe and it reminds her of the old Phantom Ghost Who Walks comics from the Nation News strips, which I think is a good show. It does give you that very so the flat colors and then the completely pitch black shading to add depth definitely has that very strong like 90s comic book art style,
Right.
which I like quite a lot.
Shit, but I guess.
This is, yeah, I'm flipping through. Yeah, this is definitely purpose, and
Yeah,
it
man,
adds to the it
I still
definitely
think
adds to the mood and stuff.
the greatest character anyhow. Was like, all right, well, screw him.
And actually, like even when you're in those scenes,
Mhm.
the main characters are brightly colored.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I told you, man, Matthew's art it's vegetables, man. It's art vegetables. It's good for you. It will make you big and strong. If you consume Matthew's art, it will make you a bigger and a stronger person.
Yeah, this
If you,
is
if you only consume art candy, it will rot your teeth.
It's all right.
yeah, this is
All right, so
definitely
y'all,
like on another scale. You don't need to vote. B is a 20. It's good. It's really good. I
so Cameron gives it a 20. Jessica has passed me another note and she's giving it a 19.
She could have really just give you 20.
Nah. We keeping it hashtag 100. But no, I'm a lot like Julian. I actually like art candy quite a bit. I will take not the most technical art over technical art. I cannot fault Matthew for choosing storytelling over just it being eye catching. But I would like I like crush. I want both. I want candy. I want candy as dessert after I get my vegetables. So I am giving it an 18.
I give it 17. I said it. All right. I give it 17.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
There are scenes
That's
that
that's an 18 and a half. That's an 18 and a half anyways. So I
I
mean
believe there are scenes in the issue that you all have that I do not have because I'm not seeing exact everything you're seeing there. There is something that I think I'm missing in the books apparently, but again, neither here nor there. Um,
fair enough. All right, so we're moving on to the final category, guys.
Neat.
Technique. I can start on technique, I guess.
You can. Because
So you know my nitpick, lettering. I get real salty about lettering. I thought lettering in this was amazing. None of the issues that I pointed out from Life and Death in Paradise have returned. Everything is good. I had no issue following the text bubbles. I had no issue with the phrasing in terms of like having concepts run between text bubbles or having lines break at odd places. I thought the dialogue was great. I know this story is really Matthew's story, and I assume Alan helped more in terms of like helping him put the stuff together, maybe doing some editing. I find that Alan just has a way with dialogue, so I'm not sure how much hand he had in dialogue. Sorry, Nigel. Nigel, I'm not the same person, guys, just in case you keep wondering why we keep switching
Yeah,
between them.
that's really.
Yes, I find Nigel is amazing with dialogue, so I'm going to assume that he had a pretty good hand in this. I can't say that I have any qualms with regards to the technique in this book. I think no, I have no qualms, none at all. Anything that you guys noticed that you wanted to point out
Yeah,
that
in
was
the chat,
negative?
if you have any like concerns that you saw, can you point out to us? Because I think we're actually at a loss for the first time ever.
So speaking positively, I will point out like what Cameron said. Matthew's art tells a story by itself. Like if there was no dialogue, just looking at the images, you can gather from the bright and vibrant to hard and sucking life out of things to the final ending where it's triumphant. I thought that was amazing. I thought the way that they were able to weave the Barbadian folklore behind Mr. Harding. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Harding was this I think there are historical suggestions that he might have been based on a real person, but he's more of an ideologue where he's the personification of a really difficult taskmaster style plantation owner who would be very unkind to his workers leading up to the crop season. Our carnival in Barbados, crop over, is to signify the end of the sugarcane crop, and it's kind of like people kicking back and relaxing after having worked really hard for the entire year. So what we did back in the day, there was this burning of an effigy of Mr. Harding, and it symbolized the ending of like long days of toiling really hard in the hot sun, working on the canes, and it was very symbolic. So the fact that they could personify that as a character, make him a supernatural entity, make him the bad guy of a story, have the main character be a cane cutter, the king of the crop, and then tie it all back, and then in the ending, the story actually ends with some dialogue that's from a very popular Barbadian song, and I won't spoil the ending, but Matthew has that's a calypso song, and I'm pretty sure that like won Pick of the Crop a year. So the way that Matthew and Nigel, that they weave like really subtle, just quintessentially Barbadian, quintessentially Caribbean things into the story. The fact that the jabs are from Trinidad and their bodies are covered in pitch, which is it's
tar.
What Trinidad. Yeah, it's tar. It's what Trinidad makes a big part of their economy from. They have pitch, tar, natural gas. That's why they're one of the more profitable Caribbean islands. You have the Maroon Islands, which are clearly Jamaica. Their characters are like, you can look at them and tell that they're Jamaican influence. Juve Island is Barbados. The whole Lord family is based on Sam Lord, who was a pirate. From that station in Barbados. He would set up like fake lighthouses to lure ships onto the rocks, and that is very well represented in his fictional representation in HARDEARS. I can go on and on, but the bottom line is that HARDEARS takes Barbadian specifically and then Caribbean general culture and creates, to me, the most comprehensive mythology I've seen. And the amount of research that goes into it. Oh, even Duppy is based on an extinct species of raccoon that I legit never knew existed. I had to go read up on it when I saw it in the lore.
Yeah, I didn't know that it existed until this comic. But I had to.
There is a reason that this book got a Publisher's Weekly starred review. It is an exceptional piece of work. I give this 20 out of 20 for technique. I got nothing bad.
You were referring to the Mr. Harding Cameron line?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I said it sounded familiar, but I never knew where. I wasn't sure if it was from like a calypso or a.
Technically, it goes with two songs, two calypso songs.
Or like one of our old folk songs. I could not remember.
Nah, that's a calypso song.
They're two. They can go for two. They can go for the two songs because I know two calypsonians who have sung the same thing. Not the same year though. but either or you could say it is the same context for how it was done. So it can go for two songs. So I can actually hear the players right now. So
Oh, so Jessica is saying that jabs are Grenadian, which would make sense. Jamaica, Grenada
Yeah, I
has
think they're Vincentian
their
as well. I
Juve
think.
carnival is called Jab Jab, and they actually cover
yeah,
their
Oh yeah.
body in
and
like
but
engine
but
oil and stuff to symbolize and like tar or
that's
whatever.
crazy.
So I guess it would make sense that they are Grenadian and not Trini. That's actually a better call. So yeah,
And
yeah,
jobs taught in third person. If you all didn't
they
know,
do talk in third person, which is hilarious.
they stay in third person.
So yeah, so Jabs being Grenadian actually does make more sense
Yeah.
than them being Trini. But I did initially think of them as Trini, but Grenadian makes more sense. But yeah, man. If I'm throwing around 20s, I'm definitely throwing out a 20 for technique. Jessica, if you can hear me from your prison cell, slip me a note.
She said it
And
earlier. She said 20.
Well,
Technically, you have no real issues
oh
with
yeah,
the
yeah, she
book.
did say.
The paneling was pretty utilitarian and easy to follow, even on a speed read 20 out of 20 for me.
well,
Yeah,
it's
same
not
same here. 20 out of 20 for me as well.
all over. You just bring 20s all over that. Simple as
Yeah,
that. I can't find
this is like
anything.
reading a really good or DC story.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. We are losing you, Cameron. I can't
Yeah,
hear you.
lost your audio for a minute.
Mic check 1 2. Nope, still can't hear
Nope.
you.
Can't.
You and these fancy mics. Yeah, you're cutting back in.
That's weird. I don't know what it is. Better now?
Yeah, you sound
Yes,
actually.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
You sound
I
like a
think it's turned
pirate.
up.
You actually sound like a pirate.
I don't know.
This is
So,
your
like,
captain speaking.
I was saying that this is something that you would pick up if you want like a Barnes and Noble and looking for a book to read or something like that. Like if you had Marvel Unlimited, this would be one of the stories that you would be reading. That's how professional and how good it is. And yeah, so I'm not gonna complain. Well, I can't complain. I'm not gonna sit here and say that we just given these people scores because this is only level with like professional comic artists in terms of the story, in terms of the techniques that they use to craft their story as well.
Yeah, agreed. And I guess we should give a disclaimer. We did cherry pick like the first 6 comics that we're going to be reviewing from This Is the End to really bring you the best of Barbadian comics. So I mean, you'll see us scoring everything very highly, and it's not because we're on here being shills, but we really picked out some of the most high quality work to bring you guys as we started the show. And I made no apologies for that. HARDEARS to me, I was sleeping on HARDEARS. I'm not gonna lie, I knew it was good, but I didn't know it was this good. HARDEARS to me is like top shelf graphic novels, not just from the Caribbean,
Even
in the world.
even before we reviewed this, it won awards for how good it was.
Yeah.
So can't knock
As
it.
far as Afrofuturism goes, HARDEARS is on the map. So yeah, that brings us to the final score. You guys want to get bonus points? I feel like at this point, well, I guess I should let y'all know that the final score based on our scoring is 94.5 out of 100. So if you're going to ask if this is good, this is 94.5% good. It is. I can't not recommend this to anybody who is into speculative fiction, period. It's really good. No matter if you're from the Caribbean or not, it's amazing. That said, Jessica's mentioning that it also got added to a collection of Afrofuturistic works. This thing has been featured all over the place. Like you said, it got star reviewed in Publishers Weekly. It got picked up by quite a popular publisher. It's been making the rounds, so you don't just have to take our word for it. It is
because
it is amazing.
It was picked up by John Jennings on his imprint a few weeks ago. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. Don't just take our word for it. Go out there and get it yourself. If I had to give bonus points, it goes back to what I started out with. To me, HARDEARS gives the Caribbean a systematized pantheon, like a proper, well thought out mythology that you can now base bigger books on. Matthew and Nigel really did a lot of homework. They went to great lengths
They
to
even give
cherry
you the
pick out.
bibliography in this comic.
Yeah, exactly. The men got references. They got like just they did a lot of research. I can't not I can't not give them credit for that. So like beyond the comic book being amazing, if you just read the preface, which is like their lore dump, and then the ending, and you don't read any of the comic, you still got value for your money. It is top notch. So I would, I give them bonus marks for that.
In the whole, to me, the whole, like the catalog that we've been reviewing from Beyond Publishing has been so stellar, whereas that I can actually have given the all in my stacks of comics, I actually give some persons like, oh, if you want to read anything from Barbados or any comics from Barbados and you want looking to start anywhere, here's what you're gonna have. I'm gonna give them HARDEARS, Offset, Spirit Beer, Life of Times, like just hand them just like really have them.
Yeah, man, these guys are our comic book ambassadors.
Yeah, and then you could give me your opinion, whereas it doesn't stack up to what you see tonight. So bonus point for that point too, for that part too, because it goes very well because it not only blends in, but kind of like for me it stands out where certain lore and certain storytelling goes with, and it matches on par with the international standard. So bonus points for that.
Agreed.
Not one for bonus points. Jess is given bonus points for world building. I think she's settled on 20.
I can't disagree.
I'm not one for giving bonus points. That's not me as a person, but if anything we reviewed deserves one, it definitely is this comic. And it would definitely be with the world build and story element. the characters, it would be for everything. Is a good book, and I hope they do more.
Agreed.
I don't want I don't even need like a continuation series sort of thing. I would settle for like short stories of people in the world, like how you have like the same stories of Zeus doing the same thing in everywhere he goes, or the different heroes in the Greek pantheon. Like they have enough material that they could do stuff like that.
Agreed. All right, guys. So that's our final verdict. Go out, get HARDEARS. It's amazing. I think it is arguably the best that Barbados has to offer when it comes to comic books. I don't think there's any higher praise that we can give this book. It is amazing.
If you disagree, what you could do is tell us what other books books
do battle with me right now.
What other Barbadian comic books you would have read that should take that title.
Yeah.
Or you could choose violence and choose to fight your own.
Yes. So those of you who are watching this after the recording, please leave that in the comment section down below with a location pin. I will come to your house and fight you. Real talk. All right, moving on to the second segment. Today we're going to go over our pop culture highlights for the month of April. April was an absolute trash month. Pandemics,
shitstorm. All right, just
volcanoes, my phone breaking, us having to sacrifice Ian. I love Ian. He's a good guy. Jessica being thrown in jail. Yeah. Ian's immortal. He's death. You can't kill death.
Can't kill that.
Jessica being in jail, I'm gonna have to bail her out. That's gonna be very expensive. Cameron refused to lend me 10 grand. I don't know why. I thought we were friends. But here we are. Still,
I will definitely still get you those 2 coffee mugs. Inside joke, guys.
I will have to take it. So who wants to start first with their pop culture highlights of the month?
I'll start. I did. I have been doing two things. Well, Spotify is now allowed in our region, so I've been going
Praise
through
the sun.
that, and
Yeah.
I found a Dungeons and Dragons comedy podcast, which was hilarious. It's called Dungeons and Daddies. Um, y'all could check it out. It is absolutely hilarious. Disclaimer: it is not a BDSM podcast.
Really not.
And
That is done.
then then the other thing that I watched this month was Daughter, the Dragon Knight. I think I binge watched that. It was that good. I like the and it has a lot of Easter eggs for persons like me who played Dota as a game. And Dota as a game is very heavily based on characters and their own personal stories, but it doesn't really center any game in of itself. It's something that you would read about in your spare time, but it doesn't have any inkling on the game itself. And this, I found that this was a really great story. The art is good. I think it's done by the same people who did oh god, what's the
Voltron.
name of that? Is
Yeah.
Voltron?
Dependent on
They did a lot.
That's-
That was
Legendary
not that
Defender, yeah.
was
Both
that
fun.
was not the that was not the I think it was the Dragon King,
None of
Dragon
them.
Prince, Dragon Prince. I thought they did this because the dragons and the monsters in this looked like they were of the same design of the people who did the Dragon Prince, but with the sun elves and all that and the moon elves and stuff. But yes, Daughter is a really good series to watch. It really highlighted the characters that they chose for this initial series. The action is good, the story is good, and if you play Dota, then you do get a lot of Easter eggs and stuff, so you will like it. So give it a try. It's on Netflix, and you can always let us know what you think.
All right, sounds good. Here we go.
Right.
Your turn, Julian. What were you doing this month?
So, I've been reviewing two things for the last month or so. That was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which actually had their season finale last Friday. Um, the that part was kind of like the last. It was alright. I would probably explain more on that on the Zion Variety Show, which is tomorrow on the Zion Network on Instagram. So we're gonna check that out afterwards. When you're finished watching this, you can go and check out the Zion Network afterwards. And one of the things I've been watching though intensely is Invincible. That was an adaptation of a comic that was done in the mid to 2010s. I'm trying to remember where. Yeah, in 2010s. It's an Image comic. It's very gory, and it has a lot of blood and stuff on it, and violent, very, very heavy on violence. And I thought that Delvin would probably love this book more than anything else, but here we are. Um, the adaptation, I like to only call the show an adaptation because it doesn't take every single thing from the comic. It's hella crazy. Like my initial thought was, okay, I want to see how this is gonna translate this way, but they took elements from it and expand on a lot more with the characters and where they're going with the story and how it goes. And it starts with well, basically main characters, which is Mark, who is invincible, a teenager who actually has developed his powers as a teenager, kind of late. And then we have his father on the man, who is the all-time great superhero in this setting. And he has this idea whereas that he needs to conquer the earth, but he's going to do it in a mild, it's a very subtle way actually. And the way how the story starts, and it's like, okay, he destroyed all the heroes in the earth. How world is gonna go? So I was wondering, how is that gonna settle into this point? So in this last episode, actually come to a head whereas that has to confront everything. And his wife knows about it. His son knows about it, which is smart, which was invincible. And apparently, it seems like the entire world is about to find out his dark secret. So really, I just waiting to see how that plays out. And in terms of pacing, my God, 47 minutes can't do any more justice than that. And we're at episode 7. I'm not sure how long, how many episodes we have to go, but I'm here for it all week, probably all month, probably all year for it. Like since 2021 started to turn up before 20 after 2020, it's like what else you could do? Just sit back and enjoy what is left of what is great in comic history. So that I recommend that if you go on Amazon, if you guys are have Amazon accounts and actually go and see it, go and do it, go and look at it. Leave the bootlegging for me because that's exactly what I do most of the time. So like besides, I'm just vengeance. I give a shit. Simple.
I guess now is as good a time as any to say that your thoughts and opinions expressed by persons on this show do not necessarily reflect the views and the values of the Xion Network.
No,
So we don't support
Yeah.
Julian's statements in any way whatsoever. That's
that,
why
that should be on top of the
it should have been, but I forget things. But that's how it goes. But nah, that's good. Invincible is definitely looking interesting. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I gotta catch up. I'm a few episodes behind, but I'm looking forward to the full review tomorrow on the variety show.
Yeah.
So since Jessica, since Jessica is having some trouble with the prison Wi-Fi, she's phoned in her recommendation. She says to check out Windbreakers on Webtoons. It's a webcomic. It's done in like typical sports anime fashion. It's about street cycling in Korea. Jessica would like the team to know that she can't even ride a bike, which is shameful. Who live in Barbados and can't ride a bicycle, Jessica? It's terrible. But she's hooked. It also has lots of slice of life elements, which we both love. An occasional teen drama. I'm putting a pin in this. We don't support teen drama. But it's a never-ending arc, so you guys should definitely check it out. So that is Windbreakers on Webtoons.
Right.
Check it. That leaves me. So this month, I feel like this month has been I don't want to say a resurgence, but kind of like the push into the mainstream for Chinese animation. I guess like Chinese anime. I've been watching a lot of Netflix this month. I watched Heaven Official's Blessing, which is like kind of a wuxia, but also a cultivation style story about a new god in the Chinese pantheon who's a complete scrub, and it was hilarious. But my main shout out for this month is it's New Gods Nezha Reborn. So I'm gonna talk a bit about both of these, but New Gods Nezha Reborn is kind of the one I'm gonna give a review on. So New Gods Nezha Reborn is set in I guess like an alternate future of China. The main character lives in a village where there is a significant water shortage. So the way that wealth is shown is in your access to water. The wealthy people have they have perfect access to water. They have lawns that are well maintained. They have access to swimming pools. They use water in a way that most of us would take for granted. The poor people, they don't have any access to water. They get water through rations. You have to get water coins, and you take it to like a pumping station, and they will give you a very set amount of water. And you have to make up with that. The main character
sounds a lot like here, but anyway.
It sounds like St. John in Barbados, to be honest.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Barbados is in the top 15 most water scarce countries in the world, and we do not act like it. We think that we got all the water in the world, so people just be wasting it, power washing their house while other people ain't got none. But that's a story.
No, because the ash is insane. Because some people may not have the capacity to do so right now, but.
Yeah, I have friends who have power washed their houses, and I have other friends who have had no water for 5 days. So I'm personally invested and salty, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
So in Nezha Reborn, the main character is he's a street racer, but his full time job is a delivery boy by day, smuggler by night, and he's a bit of a like a part time freedom fighter, sticking it to the man and disrupting their water hoarding abilities to try to like make sure the poor get their fair share of the water. He's also the reincarnation of Neja, which is another member of the Chinese pantheon. And these two anime, Heaven Official's Blessing and Neja Reborn, are kind of what got me and Jessica talking about the fact that the Caribbean needed a pantheon. Because these stories are good, don't get me wrong, but what makes them really interesting to watch is the fact that they're steeped in like thousands and thousands of years of Chinese culture and history. Um, I'm I'm probably in the weird category of having started watching anime before I even knew what anime was. Like I was watching the old school Astro Boy cartoon and Ninja Turtles at the same time, literally before I started primary school. So Japanese culture is like very normal for me. I did martial arts for 20 years. My style is a Japanese style. My favorite video games are Japanese. So like Japanese culture has always been a part of my life. So I find Japanese storytelling like very normal. It's almost like Barbadian culture to an extent. Well, I guess I should say it. Japanese pop culture is like Barbadian culture to me. It comes very naturally. So I'll like watch anime and people will find things weird, but it's been normalized to me, so I don't find it weird. Chinese culture isn't like that for me. I'm not as steeped in it. So getting into Chinese culture and learning about their history and their pantheons, their gods, has been very interesting. So I definitely recommend checking out Neji Reborn, period. And I recommend also checking out Heaven Official's Blessing with the caveat that it is very, very homoerotic. So if that's gonna rub you the wrong way, you probably don't want to check it out. But I quite it was not bad actually. It is hilarious. The main character of Heaven Official's Blessing is the most useless god ever. He is hilarious, and he like teams up with basically when he's equipped for Yokai King, and it's just shenanigans after that. It's absolutely hilarious. Oh, right. So I kind of got sidetracked on the Pantheon thing. The main character in Neja Reborn is a reincarnation of Neja, which is a Chinese deity. But Neja is like a very petty, very destructive, very spiteful god, which I thought was like hilarious. A lot of cultures, their deities are like to be revered, but Neja gives me like strong fuckboy energy.
Wow.
Uh, the main character, he's like trying to do good, trying to help people. And whenever he summons his like astral form, which is Neja's true being, Neja just doesn't help because he doesn't give a shit. Like people will die and Neja will just watch people die. And that is like a big part of the story that Neja's a fuckboy. Neja kind of like caused calamity on the world, and all he had to do to fix it was apologize. And he told the universe to just go fuck themselves, and he killed himself. Like he does not give a shit. So I I personally have strong Neja energy. I love it. So I recommend watching New Gods, Neja Reborn, and if it's your speed, Heaven Official's Blessing. I think Chinese culture is going to become mainstream a lot. Like how Japanese culture has become mainstream, and I think you want to get in on the ground floor. So I think that is it. We are actually 6 minutes early tonight. I'm feeling pretty good about this show. We should sacrifice Ian to volcanoes more often. It helps with listening. Any final words from you guys before I do the wrap up? You want to plug the variety show, Julian?
Yeah, but obviously the variety show is going to be tomorrow with me and Sean Allen on the Xion Network. Oh my God, why am I doing this right now? Like, it's weird. I was talking a whole bunch of shit just before we start plugging. So my IG is actually gonna be like so it's a variety show and we talk about different things in pop culture, comics, and sometimes the affairs of today may come in at some point. Then after that it runs from 5 to 7, and then from 7 o'clock right after that I'm going to be on my show is the variety after show. And then we have other people coming in and talking other stuff, and then we could probably say like about the show, and just to give like a voice to everyone else who would probably been supporting the show for the last year or so. And that's tomorrow at 5 for the variety show, and at 7 for the after show with me. So y'all can check that out afterwards and support everything that is Xion Network.
For sure, for sure. Cameron, you're muted again.
I think you forgot to do the disclaimer.
I did disclaimer a little bit earlier.
I think I missed that.
Yeah. Anything you want to add before I do the closeout?
Only regarding the volcano again. If you can follow Nemo SVG and the UE Seismic Research on Twitter, and they will keep you up to date on what's going on in St. Vincent, and also inform you of ways that you can help and donate to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So that's my last thing to say.
Yeah, so we made a lot of jokes about it, but seriously, the people of St. Vincent are having a tough time. This has been one of the largest volcanic eruptions we've had in the Caribbean within the last 100 years. We had the eruption back in the 70s, and it was nowhere near this big. I think people are comparing it to the 1902 or the 1886 eruptions, so it's serious business. Check out the social media channels if you can help the people of St. Vincent in any way. Donate to them. Sorry. Otherwise, send your thoughts and your prayers. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them. Like we've said, we've been through a rough April, but in the immortal words of Morpheus from the Matrix, we are Xion and we are still here. So we will keep trudging along. So finally, shout outs to the Xion Network, to all of our members, to everyone who supported us. Shout outs to Sean Aline, the founder of the Xion Network, for allowing us to use the YouTube page to bring this show to you. Shout outs to Matthew Clark. His Instagram handle is in the description of this video. Shout out to Nigel Lynch. His Instagram handle is also in the description. Shout out to all the Horsemen, Jessica as well, even though she's been having some internet issues. Ian, our thoughts and prayers go out to you at the bottom of the volcano. We know you're going to come through for us and you're going to stop this eruption. Big up yourself. You can follow me at Art of Roun. You can follow Cameron at Art of Gin.
Is Art of Gin or Art of Gin?
2 I's, 2 N's. You can follow Julian at The Art of Mohz. You can follow Jessica at Blonde Bombshellings. You can follow Ian from Beyond the Grave at Dracanima_art. All of our Instagram tags are in the description. Please subscribe to the Xion Network IG page, the Xion Network 246 IG page, Xion_Expo 246. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Turn on the bell notification. Tell us your comments on HARDEARS in the comment description, in the comment box below. Tell us what your highlights for this month in pop culture were. And other than that, I just want everyone to stay safe. Remember that this is only the end of April. It's not the end of the world. Things will get better. So hang in there and be safe. Any final words from y'all? Since Jessica's not here, I'm going to tell y'all to wash your hands.
And I would tell them to wash your ass at the same time too.
I set myself up for that one.
Yep.
And that's it. That's it from the team. Good night, people.
Peace.